I'm here to buy me a big screen TV. My first big screen, man. 40 inch, about 265.
Where's that product made?
Probably in China.
China.
This is made in China.
Did you see where it was made?
Oh yeah, it was made in China. Hey, I'm fine with it. You know, if the American people can't provide me with what I need, I gotta get it from China. Hey, it is what it is, you know. I'm just being truthful, you know. Don't hate me.
Hi, I'm Peter Navarro, and welcome to this special Black Friday edition of Death by China TV. The Black Friday clip you just saw opens my film Death by China, and it perfectly sets up this episode for a discussion of the top 6 reasons for Don't Buy Made in China. So, with the help of cast members from the Death by China film, let's now take a walk down that Don't Buy Made in China checklist, starting with reason number 1. In this clip, cast member Richard McCormick explains what happens to America's ability to create new jobs when a big corporation like Apple or General Electric offshores its production to China and then sells its products back into America.
So when a large company decides to move its production offshore and it closes a factory in a city or a town in the United States, that basically leaves, it's like a black hole. Suddenly that factory just disappears and everything else goes down with it. People who were supplying that plant with materials, equipment, maintenance services, even the accounting firms, design firms, R&D firms, and then all the other services around it like restaurants, what happens to them? They're doomed. They go down with it. They can't follow that company offshore to Shanghai.
And on that point, here's one of my favorite moments in the film from a refugee from China's ongoing genocide of the Tibetan people. So how do you feel when Americans buy Chinese products?
I feel really bad because you know what happened is not just America buying a Chinese product, which is American people losing the job.
Now, the second reason for Don't Buy Made in China is a bit more subtle. Defend your community's tax base and therefore your community schools and other infrastructure like roads and bridges. Cast member Richard Trumpka explains it this way when he is asked what people should think about before buying made in China.
Think about your relative that just got laid off or the factory that just got shut down. Think about the school that is doing with less because the manufacturing base has gone and the tax base has left. Think about the lower income that you're receiving now because we're not making products and we're not buying our own products.
Yes, the broader point here is that when China steals our jobs, it takes America's tax base right along with them. And that observation takes us to the third reason for Don't Buy Made in China.
We are in a trade war, and stealing, lying, and cheating on the part of the Chinese is all part of it.
Death by China film narrator Martin Sheen provides an historical perspective on just how this trade war got started.
When China joined the World Trade Organization in 2001, it promised to stop cheating and play by fair trade rules. That meant abandoning unfair trade practices like currency manipulation, illegal export subsidies, and abusing its workers. Instead, the Chinese government has used these weapons of job destruction to launch a sustained and devastating attack on America's factories and jobs, while flooding our markets with dangerous products.
The broader point, of course, is that when we buy made in China, we are tacitly sanctioning China's unfair trade practices. And in thinking about our own behavior, perhaps we need to come to the same kind of epiphany cast member Joanna Davison does here in front of the White House.
No, you can't have it both ways. We either want the jobs, the manufacturing, everything here in the United States, and we're going to buy it, but you go to the store and you look for the cheapest thing, which usually comes from China.
Any chance the president might be listening? Not unless we all speak up. And speaking of speaking up, here's yours truly in the film talking about reason 4 to Don't Buy Made in China. Every time a consumer walks into a Walmart, first thing they have to do is be aware enough to look for the label. Then when they pick up that good and it says made in China, I want them to think, hey, if I buy this, that money's going to go over to help finance what is essentially the most rapid military buildup of a totalitarian regime since when? The 30s. I mean, make no mistake about that. China's military buildup is indeed scary stuff. As cast member Gordon Chang soberly reminds us,
China is the only major nation in the world that is preparing to kill Americans.
Let's turn now with narrator Martin Sheen and economist Peter Morici to reason 5 to don't buy made in China this holiday season.
But even if you don't want to consider the broader economic or national security consequences of consuming goods made in China, you may at least want to think about your own personal safety and that of your family.
If you put it in your mouth or the hands of a child, don't buy it from China.
The abiding fact here is that made in China products are not getting any safer anytime soon, and they pose a very real health hazard to you and your family and your pets, as the most recent scandals have shown. So you may want to think about this the next time you go to the supermarket to shop for your dinner table.
Let's take fish. There are 3.5 million fish farms in China. The fish are raised in contaminated ponds. They're fed all kinds of hormones, and the biggest market for that fish is the United States. 85% of the tilapia comes from China. Most of our shrimp comes from China.
Of course, a sixth reason for don't buy made in China is the massive debt America is accumulating with the world's largest totalitarian nation. As cast member Lynn McDonald warns,
We're a subsidiary of China and getting worse and worse because they're going to own us pretty soon.
Cast member Ralph Gomery likewise minces no words in describing this problem.
We import a lot of stuff from China, but a lot of it we don't pay for. I mean, we've got no goods to ship in the opposite direction. So we just ship bundles of dollar bills. Between $2 and $3 trillion is available to buy up pieces of America.
What alarms me is the vastness of the debt. In this clip, Stephen Colbert makes a joke about China buying up Kansas, but it hits uncomfortably close to home.
And then China would back a tow truck up to Kansas and drag it off to Guangdong province.
At any rate, I've offered you 6 very powerful reasons for don't buy made in China this holiday season. But I also know how hard it has become these days to buy alternatives. As cast member Carolyn Bartholomew realistically puts it,
I personally do look at the labels of where things are made, but sometimes I go to buy things and it's impossible to find something that isn't made in China.
So here's what I suggest when you are out there in America's sea of malls shopping for your loved ones. First and foremost, look at the label of everything you buy. If the product says made in China, please put it back down unless you absolutely have to have it. Second, if you do absolutely need that product, take some time to try and find an alternative made either in America or in some other country that is one of America's allies or friends.
I do buy China stuff, but I'd prefer to buy American things.
Why?
I think it's better just to support the economy here rather than, you can buy cheaply in China, but I think it's better for our economy if we buy here.
In closing, I just want to say I know how difficult and stressful the holiday season can be. But let's remember, this is supposed to be a time for giving in the spirit of love and friendship. Giving products to your friends, family, and loved ones from a totalitarian country that steals our jobs and poisons its products for profit simply sends the wrong "'tis the season" message. That's why I'm going to give cast member Judith Samuelson the last word in this episode.
I think that at every level, people could boycott to some extent, and there would be a shot heard around the world.
Well, that's it for this edition of Death by China TV. Please share this YouTube link with a friend. And for more Death by China news, visit our Facebook page or the Death by China movie webpage. Please note this too. If you are a Netflix subscriber, you can now view the Death by China film for free. Lastly, you may want to think about buying the Death by China DVD as a holiday gift for a friend or family member. All proceeds are dedicated to raising awareness about this critical issue, and the DVD is all made in America. So take care. I'm Peter Navarro, and I'll see you next time on Death by China TV.